The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. Thank you for being here. I'm super excited for today's episode. And before we jump in, as always, we are here to bring you tips and a system for managing your energy, your health, your mood, your wellness, and maybe have a little less stress and a little more joy in your life. That's our goal here. So we hope you enjoy this episode. I'm excited because today we have one of my dear friends as a guest. I will say that he loves Jesus, but he does curse a little. So hopefully he will behave, but there's no guarantees. So welcome, Jason Baker. So excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you, sister. Yeah, I'll try to keep it classy. You know how hard it is for me.
I do.
Yes.
That's why I gave everyone a warning.
That's right. Fair warning.
Awesome. Well, we're here because you've been on quite a transformational journey. And Ryan and I were talking. We had Shannon Cheplack on last week, did an awesome interview with her. And Ryan said, we should have Jason on. And so I'm going to kind of hand the reins over to the boys today, though I'm going to for sure interrupt and chime in. But I'm going to hand it over to them and we're just going to have an awesome conversation.
Thanks, sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jason, I'm super thankful that we get to have you on the 15-Point Plan podcast today. Like Jacqueline said, the mission of this podcast, it's a system that our friend and business partner, all of our friend and business partner, Ben Kinney, created on really points and systems that will make us turn from ordinary to extraordinary, from high stress and low energy to the reverse of that, having more energy, having less stress, and performing at our best self. And I got the pleasure of running into you last week. We all saw each other, which was super cool. So It's not often that we get to see everybody, but I got to see Jacqueline. I got to see Jason. And Jason, I'm in the hotel room checking in and I look over and I'm just like, dang, who is that stud over there? This guy's like standing at the check-in counter and you had your back to me and I'm like, that guy is jacked. Like that guy looks like freaking Thor. Like who is this dude? And you turned and I was like, it's freaking Jason Baker. Like I hadn't seen you for a long time and you look really good, man. Like you look really good physically, but also, dude, I saw this power and this presence and this clarity in your eyeballs. And after I was done checking in, I just walked up to you and I got to say hello and you gave me the biggest hug and we had just a quick chat. But one thing, Jason, that you said to me that it's rare for us dudes to say when I walked away was you said, I love you.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jason is on point right now. So I want to welcome you to the podcast because you've been on this journey. You've been on this transformation and we want to know what is working so well for you. So welcome to the podcast and just tell us a little bit about what this year has looked like and then we'll go back in history, but tell us kind of where you're at now, but tell us where this health journey really started over this last year, which it turns out hasn't been that long, I found out.
Yeah, it's, I kind of look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters in January.
You were jolly.
What's that?
Jolly.
I was jolly. That's right. So someone told me when they saw me last, like, gosh, the Jason I saw last time looked like he ate the current Jason. That was super nice. But I mean, I'd have to agree with him. I mean, he wasn't lying and he was just being honest. So, we entered the year in January. It was a pretty stressful time for my kids and I, and also for my wife, Sarah. Last March, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And for the second time, she had stage 1-2 4 or 5 years ago. And we were in Costa Rica. We were on a golf cart. I went over a speed bump. She had a sharp pain in her back. Of course, I thought she was just backseat driving because I was hitting speed bumps on the golf cart, Ends up, I broke her back. And we went into the hospital. She found out. They took x-rays and CAT scans and everything. And her spine was riddled with holes, which had the breast cancer had metastasized into bone cancer. Okay. So a dire diagnosis, because we're of faith, we always have hope, both, in eternity, of course, but we also have hope that things will work out because, of course, then we start increasing prayer. We start all sorts of regimens, really looking at the ingredients of things starting back in last March, trying to get organic food into the house. And you should have seen our countertops, full of supplements. Sarah was able to go to Germany for some alternative treatment, Mexico for some alternative treatment. But in the end, come December, where she was basically in a wheelchair, it just was really unfortunately, the beginning of the end. So, and you just, you hear about it, and she'd gotten over it before. I think it was still growing there, but you hear about it, you think about it, you're hopeful, but you have to be realistic. And I just knew what was going to happen, though it was very difficult to know on the one hand, hope on the other hand, and then also encourage on the other hand. So, because you're not going to get up and be like, honey, you're going to be dead in 2 months. You're not going to do that, right? So it was difficult as a father, as a leader, as a team leader, as a husband, to try to be even remotely what you should be, and so I just found myself. I was so unhealthy in the way I was eating, and of course, I didn't realize the nervous system load that I had on me at the time. It was tough. I mean. It was rocking me at the time. And I could not muster the energy. I seem like always high energy, but I could not muster the energy to perform. So, and I looked at it and I looked at myself in the mirror and I never liked what I saw. Like I was nice, sweared a lot, like Jacqueline said, but I was a nice person. Wasn't harming anybody, but I was harming myself. And in the things that I thought, in the things that I ate, in my self-esteem, my self-image. And I just was, again, I did not like that. So Sarah passed away in our arms on February 8th this year. And it was tough. My kids are there. It was tough. And a week before that, I just had a come to Jesus talk with myself. And I said, there's 2 things I can control: what goes in my head and what goes in my mouth. And I'm not controlling any of those things, period. And so Shannon and Alec, who are just incredible humans. Hopefully I'm done with my little breath issue there. They had, otherwise known as a pre-cry. But they, that happens too. They had been sending me lots of marketing things and coming from contribution, which I really liked. But in some people think that that's sales, but they generally believe in what they do. So I called them and I just made the decision to, I don't know if you're like anyone else that's listening to this. It's like you start and stop a million things in your life and you never finish. And if I have a fault, it's starting and stopping things and never following through. Okay.
Yeah. I think we all got that, Jason. We all get excited. It's like this motivation that we talk about. We get that little bit of motivation, but that wears off. So how do you keep going? How do you keep going? Right. Yeah.
The purpose became the children. I realized I was going to be a single dad. I got, my Lord and Savior takes care of us. And don't think for a second after that happened that he didn't, and before and through. But I was not taking care of myself. It was just going to be me. Okay. Just me. So I had to get healthy for my children. So I told my son one time when we were having a little hard time up in our apartment, I said, I will never stop fighting for you guys, ever, regardless of what happens. Mom's doing bad, but I will never stop fighting for you. Remember that, Ethan? Yeah, I will never stop. And so I joined with them, I think, February 3rd. I mean, I was so fat. It was gross. And I can't even believe Sarah would sleep in the same bed with me. But anyways, truly, she should have thrown me out years ago. And but I called them. They immediately got me on a program. What I loved about it was They were like, this is not the quick 20 pounds this week kind of thing. This is for life. Are you in? And I said I was. So the diet came over. I looked at it. I eat very simply. I would just eat like 12,000 calories a day, you know? So it was not a hard diet to follow. And it was it was not over like these crazy workouts. It was just small things consistently over time and zero straying from the path. I can honestly say since February 3rd, I have not put one unhealthy thing in my mouth or my body or my mind. Period. Full stop. I have not cheated on one meal. Maybe I had an extra bite of steak because I didn't have my scale with me at the restaurant, but it was still steak, right? So maybe I went 9 ounces rather than 8. I measure everything. And I put it there. And if you look at the before and after photos, and I know that this is a podcast, I'm still ashamed to look at the body that I had before, but I'm very grateful for the body that I have now in a egotistical, flashy kind of way. I've still never taken a gym selfie.
Well, Jason, so you said you started February 3rd. What was the weight that you started at? And as of October, what are we at now?
I was right at my biggest was 311 when I was still drinking alcohol. I stopped drinking alcohol and I dropped 20 to 30 pounds. And I have not drank alcohol in about a decade. This June will be 10 years. So I lost 30 pounds there, but I was still hovering in that 275 to 295 range. So starting this thing, I think I was like 265 to 270. Depending on how much salt I ate the day before, I could go up 7 or 8 pounds. It seems like, water weight, but yeah.
And what are you at now?
I was down to 225. And then now I'm on a gain phase. That's just, you're over and above your, resting calorie burn. So I'm not on a sustain. I was on a sustain for the last 2 months. Now I'm on a gain phase. So I'm up 7 or 8 pounds. So I think I'm 233, 232, 233.
Dude, Jason, you in a gain phase. I am like excited because you're going to be like a bodybuilder like physique here if you keep going at this pace. But we got to pause for a second because you said a lot of good things. And I'm sure Jacqueline has a couple questions. First of all, my friend, Sarah is watching over you and your boys right now. Incredibly proud of you, brother. Like absolutely incredibly proud of who you are becoming, of what you've done, and the leadership that you are providing for you, your boys, and everybody around you. I'm sure you know that, but I just wanted to remind you of that. Second, you said you have a belief. Like one of the things I took away from Shannon Chatblack was her first step before all this is like, number one, mindset.
Yep.
Like we have to believe this is possible. We have to talk to ourselves in this way. So you took that belief in your faith and you applied that. And then you're like, look, there's 2 things I can control, what goes in my head and what goes in my mouth. And in the 15-point plan, we call that our influences and our nutrition. And you have just completely run with that. So you are a living example of somebody that can absolutely so fast make a change. And like I said, brother, I just want to say thank you for inspiring me and everybody. And Jacqueline, I'm sure you've got a question or two before we keep going. Like what's going through your mind right now, Jason? Because this is pretty awesome.
Well, now that I wiped my tears because I was bawling over here like a baby for a second, I'm just so proud of you, first of all, as a friend and as a father. And yeah, I mean, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I wish that more of us would make these decisions like without having these horrible things force us to make these choices. And the thing is like you still could have made the other choice. And that's why I'm so proud of you. Like you could have kept going and used everything that was going on to eat more.
Yeah.
Like you could have, like a lot of people would have justified eating crappier because of what was going on. And so that's why I'm so proud of you that you made that choice. And it's interesting because, we're all in various ways making the opposite choice on any given day, and we're, like you said, we're hurting ourselves. And if you don't care about yourself, like you're hurting the people that you do care about, like your kids,
Yes.
And so I'm just so proud of you for making that choice. And I hope that this inspires someone else to make that choice.
Yeah. I would add maybe to that, self-sabotage is real. I self-sabotaged myself for 48 years. I did. And in some ways, not so much now. I can honestly say I'm not anymore. Like, I'm not the biggest social butterfly. And so maybe I'm self-sabotaging on some. But the healthier I get, the clearer I see. And the clearer I see, the more deep work I can do. The more deep work I do, the deeper I can go with other people. And I think I was self-sabotaging, so I never had to be hurt in relationships again. I could just be so superficial and shallow that I would never get hurt. Meanwhile, I'm hurting myself and other people that don't get to experience light. And so I'm very sorry that I was that way, truly. But I'm just not going to be that way anymore. So, people get more time. My kids get more time. They're extremely tough, and I'm extremely grateful for them. They're just sitting here. There is nothing in this family that goes unsaid, and there's nothing that we hide from each other. And there are no more secret rooms. There used to be, but there are not. Everything is unlocked, which is great, and I'm grateful for that. But we have to remember, we have an opportunity now, before someone dies, to make the change. And you're getting into that, Jacqueline. And, it's like, imagine the person you love the most dies. Why are we waiting to have those kinds of conversations with them? Why are we not changing now, getting healthy or stopping drinking or stopping drugs? Why are we not doing that? And if one person from this thing would just think about that and then take action on it, slow action over time, it would make me so happy.
I think that is an incredibly powerful thought for our listeners to take away, Jason, is how can they act right now? Something happened to you and the next day, it was an immediate change, right? And like you said, this sounds like probably the hardest thing you've ever gone through in your life, but you've had other hard things in your life, like we talked about. We've had our challenges. We both had our challenges with addictions. You had your challenges as a younger male in life. For those that don't know, you're an active duck hunter out there. And from what I understand, you've been actually shot in the face and kept going. Talk to us about that and tell me what that looked like, not actually, but how you changed after that. Because what I'm hearing is a man that gets hard things thrown at him and he comes back even stronger. And sometimes it happens quick. Sometimes it takes some time, but I see this dude now that is on an absolute mission, and he's on a mission to change people's lives, starting with his 2 kids that are sitting right there, which is awesome, not hiding nothing. But talk to us about these other couple hard things that have happened in your life, because I know some of our listeners have had maybe addictions, but I don't know that many people have been shot in the face. So how the heck did you come back from that, my friend?
Back then I was a super huge target, hard to miss, so. One of the funniest things, I don't know what the statute of limitations is on that, but, it was funny because in some of the deposition material, because there was, things that had to get taken care of afterwards, it was super funny because my 2 friends who were there, one of which had shot me, he's just the greatest guy. Just a good human. And he felt so bad, of course. And he goes, Jason was so fat, we weren't sure what happened. He just fell over like he was dead. We thought he had a heart attack. Like right in the deficit. Jacqueline, I went back and reread that, and they literally like verbatim, that's what it said. I was like, thanks a lot, guys. Jeepers creepers, put me out of my misery. No laughing, Ethan. But anyway, Ethan's over there cracking up. I can still punish you, buddy. But anyways, but no, we were duck hunting right where we are right now. Actually, I still lease the same ranch, and it's interesting when I walk over that spot how I just stop and pray, and I'm really grateful that I did not die that day. But I got shot in the head at about 12 yards, and for anybody that understands firearms, understands ballistics. A 3-inch Magnum shotgun at 12 yards is a deadly shot. So I took, thank God, straight on. I was just out trying to get a duck, couldn't find it, was walking back, and he was just on the other side of the creek or slough that we hunt. And a bunch of ducks landed in, and both of them started unloading their gun, and they should not have done that. But anyway, and one of them hit me in the side of the face. So I obviously instantly knocked out. In and out of it, I would wake up, start screaming at him, didn't realize what happened, fall down again. I was fainting for like a long time after that. But I just remember crawling. And of course I was in, we need to talk about details, but when you have an injury, there's lots of red stuff on the ground. And when I woke up in that, I was completely freaked out and I could not see. So I guess somewhere in there, I called my wife, Sarah, and said, I think I'm going to die and I love you. She told me that later. So only thing I could think there was get to help. And so finally I somehow was reconnected with those two. I was crawling for a while, and they were on the phone with 911. They could not life flight because it was negative 31. They couldn't fly a helicopter. I was pretty mangled.
My gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, needless to say, at some point they had to get me in their car. I kept fainting. I don't remember a lot of it, but I just remember I was actually pretty peaceful. I was crawling. Apparently at one point in time, I guess I stood up, started screaming swear words at the guy that he shot me. And then I guess I fell down. So I had to kind of like read all this stuff, and I vaguely remember some of it, but more than one choice words were said, I guess. But anyway, I just remember him holding me, and he was apologizing profusely. I don't know whether that was at the hospital or there at the ground there. I think it was by the creek. And he said he was sorry, and I told him I love him and I forgive him there.
I had a feeling that was coming, yeah. Jason. I had a feeling that your unconditional love was going to shine through in that situation.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I want to come back as a realtor if I die reincarnated. Just kidding. So anyways, just joking. I don't believe that. But anyhow, they got me on a life flight. They had to bring a jet. And I guess I just kind of like woke up in Missoula. Anyway, long story short, lost vision in my left eye. They didn't know if it was brain damage or not. Sarah said that I already had brain damage. So it was probably just normal. There were a lot of psychological issues, alcohol issues, prescription drug abuse for a couple years after that to manage pain and just stress and anxiety. Because I don't do anything halfway, good or bad that can be. But it was an interesting time in my life. But anyways, enough about what happened after. So it was actually one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. I remember they were trying to save my eye. I remember the first few surgeries, and I had to go home and lay on my right side for like 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it was to get my retina. And then there was some other stuff going on there, and it was pretty disgusting. But anyways, they said, I'm trying not to make this super boring, but my real estate coach at the time, I'd only been in real estate for 4 months. I was broke before I got into real estate. I started with $2,500, paid $1,000 to coach. My coach called me every day, even though I was on medical leave from coaching. So you're not paying $1,000 a month. He said, you're going to make 5 contacts today, every single day laying on my right side. I did. I set 4 listing appointments those first 3 weeks. Granted, I'm super looped out and I can't drive. Got driven after 3 weeks. I set them 3 weeks out. Somehow they still kept the appointment and ended up taking, 7 listings in the 45 days during that whole process, which was incredible. FSBOs and expireds, of course. And so here's the thing. If you're a realtor and you're listening to this, you're not making it to college, you're like, don't have any excuse. So sorry to say that. But anyway, that's kind of an injury thing. After that, changes in my life were definitely not diet, but the changes in my life were morning routine, because I had a lot of depression, and it was diagnosed as PTSD afterwards. And the only way through that is mental drills, which happen to start in the morning. So a lot of positive stuff, prayer and meditation, things like that. So I know we're getting close on time. So
no, Jason, what I'm taking away from this is you're a fighter. What I'm taking away from that story is you can get shot in the face in negative 31 degree weather. You're 4 months into a career, and coach says, hey, do this, and you did this. Fast forward to now, and Shannon, your coach says, hey, do this and do this. Like, you're the type of person that is going to make a decision that he wants to do something, and that's where our listeners can get impacted. Is you got to make that decision. Jason gets shot in the face, and 4 months later, he's laying in a bed, and coach says, you got to make these calls. He's going to make these calls. And he has absolutely turned his life around because of that. Jacqueline, what's going through your mind other than just picturing negative 31 degrees? He just slid that in there. He's like, it just happened to be negative 30.
Not to picture that whole scene, to be honest. I'm trying not to picture it. No, it's kind of the same. Like, it's really, I guess, like, what's going through my mind is that when you don't make these decisions, like, you're still making a decision. And I think that's what we fool ourselves into thinking, that like we just haven't decided yet, but you actually have. Like, whether it's your health or your business or your relationships, you are making a choice. Yep. Either way, you're either choosing to be healthy or you're choosing to be unhealthy. You're choosing to do the things to grow your business, or you're choosing not to do the things to grow your business. Yeah. There's no, like, you're not a victim of anything or anyone, but your own choice. Like, it's Amen. A decision that you're making. And both times in both of these stories, these examples, you made a decision, and then both times you added accountability or had accountability.
It's so important. Yeah. That's the most important thing, is like, one of the reasons I think why we fail is we either refuse to or don't introduce, you need to have allies in everything you're doing, whether it's business partners, whether it's accountability, whether it's a coach. And you can use the excuse of not knowing how to do it to never get started. But, and there's a lot of people that have coaches that don't do it either, or inconsistent still. But when you make a decision and you have a coach, it's just like 10xing the results.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And the question we have to ask ourselves, that you clearly defined the second of these, Jason, is, am I going to be the victim, or am I going to be the victor of the story? Hey, I've never done this before, Jason. Is Ethan still there?
He is. Come on over here,
Ethan over here? Can you bring Ethan over here?
He is. Yeah, he's got purple underoos on. Just kidding. Just joking, dude.
Reason I want to bring Ethan over here. Ethan, what's up? I'm Ryan. This is Jacqueline, and we've never had one of our children on the podcast before, so you're the first. I hope it's okay that I put you on the spot. First of all, if this is okay, you gotta be pretty proud of your pops right now, Ethan, for who he's becoming. You want to tell your dad how proud of him you are?
I'm proud of you, Dad. Thanks a lot.
You asshole, Ryan. Kick your butt.
I
quit crying there. Ethan, it's been the greatest honor of my life to serve you and to be your dad. And I will fucking die for you, just so you know that.
I know.
And I will never eat any shitty food ever again in my life.
I know.
And I will do everything I can to live as long as I can and to serve you and your sister. Do you understand?
I do.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all the help you've done since Mom's died. Because without you and Cassie, the house would be a disaster, mostly because of me. And and you have really manned up. And the man you are becoming makes me very proud. And I love you very much.
Love you too.
Yeah. You're a good dude. I'm lucky to have you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I met Sarah. I can't believe she stuck with me, but we made some good kids. You asshole, Ryan, make me cry like that.
No, but I do want to ask Ethan. I do, and I'm sure he has thought that, and perhaps he has told you that, but I could feel his energy and how proud he is of you. And I just want to ask Ethan, what one of his takeaways, what's something you're implementing, Ethan, as you're going through this, seeing your dad? How old are you, Ethan?
15.
15, dude, what a great age. You're a strong looking 15-year-old. What are you doing that your dad has started doing that you're excited to keep growing and keep learning from?
Well, I'm trying to eat healthier like him. Well, I definitely am.
Yeah, you are.
That's something that's probably very important that I need to keep doing. So.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 13-year-old boy. Jacqueline has raised teenagers as well. And one thing that I'll tell you that I'm not sure Jason has is you teenagers get to eat whatever the heck you want. It doesn't really impact you till later in life. And if your dad hasn't told you this already, Ethan, as a 15-year-old, if you start eating well and you start throwing some weights around and you start training, you're going to be absolutely unstoppable in your life. You will be unstoppable, and you're going to take what your dad has done. And I don't know if anybody has told you this recently, but your dad's a really impressive individual in the business world, now in the health world. And you're going to take what he's done and you can 10X that, my friend. So I just wanted to pass that on to you as a father as well. I think it's incredible what your father has done. I'm super lucky to be a friend of his and a business partner of his. And I just wanted to tell you that you got a really awesome dad. I know you know that already, but I'm glad you had a chance to tell him how much you love him, because he shares a lot of love with me and with the rest of the world. So I wanted to share that with you. Make sure you heard that directly from somebody who you haven't met yet. But one of these days, Ethan, you and I are going to get a good, healthy meal. And we're going to go for a run or go train some weights if that's cool.
Okay,
Sure.
yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Ethan.
Love you, Dad.
Yeah. You're a good kid.
Yeah.
No, you're a good kid no matter what they say. Just kidding.
You just reminded me. You reminded me of a quote. This whole thing about, it's something like, I'll butcher it, but when people say like, "I'd die for you," and then it's like, "Yeah, but will you live for them?"
Yeah.
You know. I don't know what the actual quote is, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That's for sure. Yeah, will you? Yeah, you'd die for me, but would you put that bottle of vodka down?
That's right.
Would you not go buy that bag of that stuff? Would you do that?
Or not eat crap that will shorten your lifespan. Or my favorite quote that I wrote down is, "The healthier I get, the clearer I see. The clearer I see, the more deep work I can do. And the more deep work I can do, the deeper I can go with other people." And so it's not even about, like, maybe you don't care about living longer right now. But do you care about the depth of the relationships, the quality of the relationships in your life? What you eat impacts the quality of your relationships. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Jason, I'm sure some people are going to hear this or see this on social media, and they're going to wonder, how can I connect with this guy? Maybe it's a question about how they can get into real estate. Maybe it's a question about how they can lose nearly 100 pounds in a year. How can people find you online, my friend?
Yeah, just you can just my Instagram handle is Chubbendale Dancer. Just kidding. No, it's not. It's really
it's something else equally obnoxious.
Back
probably.
to flat. No. It just I think it's under Jason Baker. Jason Baker. You just Google it, and there's a picture of me on my farm in a gray shirt there. They can just look us up at jasonbakerteam.com, and my contact info's there. Yeah, pretty easy to find online if you look.
Jason, it's incredible to see what you're doing, my friend. Keep going. Thank you for joining
guys too. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful to be invited here, and never thought I'd be on a podcast about health. That's for darn sure. So thank you.
Hey, I shared that last week. You and me both.
You're looking awesome, Jacqueline, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, This has probably been, like, I can say probably my favorite episode that we've ever recorded. So
I love you guys very much. Thank you.
Love you too, Jason. Don't forget to check. That's right. Don't forget to check all of past episodes, winmakegive.com. All of our podcast network is on there. You can find Jacqueline and myself on social media, Ryan Park Greigg and Jacqueline Ray Smith. We thank you all for listening. And Jason, thank you again, my friend.